ask you something honestly? Have you ever understood English perfectly in your mind, but when it was finally your turn to speak, your mind suddenly went blank? Like completely blank. Your heart starts beating fast, your throat feels tight, and suddenly even simple words disappear. Hello? How are you? My name is... Even those words feel difficult. And then, later, when you're alone, you think, why am I like this? Maybe I'm just bad at English. But Omar, what if the problem is not your English? What if the real problem is fear?
Yeah, that actually happens to me all the time. I can understand videos, I can read comments, sometimes I even know the answer in my head. But when someone talks to me in English, I panic, and then I say nothing. Or worse, I say one small sentence and immediately feel embarrassed.
And you know what's sad? Millions of English learners think they are stupid, when actually they're just scared. Scared of mistakes, scared of judgment, scared of sounding weird. And slowly, that fear becomes silence.
Wait, this is exactly how I feel, especially when someone speaks fast. I start comparing myself immediately, like, wow, they speak so easily. Why can't I do that?
Because you're trying to survive the conversation instead of enjoying it. That changes everything. And honestly, nobody talks about this enough. Most people teach grammar, but very few people talk about the emotions of learning English, the fear, the shame, the overthinking. But tonight, we're going to talk about all of it. And if you've ever felt afraid to speak English, I want you to stay until the end of this video, because you're going to realize something important. You are not broken. You are learning.
Can I tell you something embarrassing?
Of course.
A few months ago, I joined an online English speaking room. There were people from different countries. Everybody sounded confident. Some people made mistakes, but they still kept talking. And me? I was silent for almost 20 minutes. I kept thinking, okay, say something now. No, not now. What if they laugh? What if my pronunciation is bad? And then suddenly someone asked me, so, Omar, what do you think? Aisha, my brain stopped working. Completely. I knew the answer in my language. I even knew some English words, but I couldn't connect them. And after a few seconds of silence, I just said, sorry, my internet problem.
Honestly, that is the most relatable English learner moment ever.
I felt so embarrassed. After the call ended, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I kept replaying the moment in my head.
That's the problem. English learners don't just fear mistakes. They replay mistakes emotionally, again and again. And slowly, the brain starts connecting English with stress, not joy, not curiosity, stress.
Wait, that makes so much sense, because whenever I try speaking English, my body feels nervous before I even start.
Exactly. Your brain thinks English equals danger, so your mind tries to protect you. That's why words disappear. That's why you freeze. That's why you suddenly forget simple vocabulary. This happens to so many learners. Honestly, if this has ever happened to you too, write yes in the comments, because I promise you are not alone. So if grammar is not the main problem, what is? The real problem? Perfection. You want to speak perfectly before you speak naturally, and that destroys confidence.
Wow, that hurt a little, because it's true. Before I speak, I check every sentence in my head. Grammar, pronunciation, vocabulary, everything.
And during that time, the conversation already moved on.
Exactly. That happens every time.
See? Your English is not always the problem. Sometimes the problem is overthinking. You're trying to build the perfect sentence instead of building connection. Real conversations are messy. Even native speakers pause, forget words, correct themselves. That's normal. But English learners think, if I make one mistake, everybody will judge me.
Yeah. Sometimes I even avoid speaking because I already imagine failure.
Can I tell you something honestly? One small mistake will never hurt you as much as silence hurts your confidence. Read that again in your heart. Silence feels safe for one moment, but later it creates regret.
That's deep. Because after staying silent, I always feel disappointed in myself.
Exactly. And slowly that disappointment becomes identity. You stop saying, I made a mistake, and start saying, I'm bad at English. Those are two completely different things. I remember one girl named Lena. She sent me a voice message once. Her English was very simple, very slow, and she apologized almost 5 times in 1 minute. Sorry for my bad English, sorry if I sound weird. But you know what I noticed? She communicated beautifully. Not perfectly, beautifully. I understood her feelings, I understood her story, I understood her emotions. And honestly, that matters more than perfect grammar.
Wait, that's actually true. Sometimes confident people make mistakes too, but nobody cares because they keep talking naturally.
Exactly. Confidence changes how people hear you. Fear changes how you hear yourself. That's the difference.
Can I ask something? How do you stop being afraid?
Little by little, not overnight. Confidence is not magic. It's repetition without punishment. Your brain needs proof that speaking English is safe, and the only way to give your brain that proof is by speaking anyway, even scared, especially scared.
Okay, but sometimes English mistakes are so embarrassing. Tell me one.
Okay. One time I wanted to say, I'm excited, but instead I said, I'm excitedly. And then I got nervous and repeated it 3 times. I'm excitedly. I'm very excitedly. I'm so excitedly today.
Omar, that sounds adorable.
No, it doesn't. I wanted to disappear.
But look, you still communicated emotion. People understood you were happy. That means communication happened. And honestly, funny mistakes become beautiful memories later. Every fluent speaker has embarrassing stories. Everyone. But beginners think, I'm the only one struggling. That's not true.
Wait, can I tell you something strange? Hearing this actually makes me feel lighter.
Because you finally realize you don't need to become perfect to deserve conversation. You already deserve it. Okay, Omar, let's do something together right now. No pressure, no perfection, just simple speaking. Ready?
Okay, a little nervous, but ready.
Good. And everyone listening, I want you to speak too, even quietly, even if your pronunciation is not perfect. This is your safe place. Ready? Repeat after me. I am learning.
I am learning.
Good. Again, I do not need perfect English.
I do not need perfect English.
Now, this one slowly. I can speak even when I feel nervous.
I can speak even when I feel nervous.
See? That already sounds beautiful. Now let's practice something real. Imagine someone asks, "How was your day?" Most learners panic because they search for advanced English. But simple English is powerful. You can say, "My day was okay. I was tired today. I had a busy day. I feel better now." That's real communication, not performance.
Wait, that actually feels easier because I always think my answer needs to sound impressive.
That's another hidden problem. You're trying to sound fluent instead of trying to sound honest. Honest English is easier and more human.
Can I confess something? Sometimes I avoid speaking English because I feel embarrassed about my accent.
That fear is very common. But listen carefully.
An accent is proof that you learned another language. That is not weakness. That is courage.
But online, people sometimes make fun of accents.
Yes, some people do, but kind people care more about your message than your accent. And honestly, the world is full of different English accents now. American, Indian, Arabic, Korean, Spanish, African, British. English belongs to everyone now, not just one type of speaker.
That actually makes me emotional because I spent so much time feeling less than.
You are not less than. You are multilingual. Do you realize how amazing that is? You can feel emotions in 2 languages. That's powerful. Can I tell you about someone I met years ago? There was an older man working at a small coffee shop. His English was broken, very broken. Sometimes he stopped in the middle of sentences. Sometimes customers corrected him. But every single day, he kept trying. One day I asked him, "Why do you practice so much?" And he smiled and said, "Because my daughter lives abroad. I want to speak to her without fear." That stayed in my heart forever, because suddenly English was not about grammar anymore. It was about connection, love, family, life. And I think many learners forget this. English is not just a subject, it's a bridge to people, to opportunities, to confidence, to the version of yourself you want to become.
Wow, that hit me deeply. Because sometimes I forget why I started learning English. I only focus on my mistakes.
Exactly. And when you focus only on mistakes, you stop seeing progress. But progress is happening, slowly, quietly, even now. Okay, let's do another practice together. And this time, don't think too much. Just feel the words. Ready? Repeat after me. My voice matters.
My voice matters.
Again, I do not need to speak fast.
I do not need to speak fast.
Good. One mistake cannot stop me.
One mistake cannot stop me.
And this last one, slowly. I am becoming more confident every day.
I am becoming more confident every day.
Beautiful. And if you're listening right now, I hope you said those words too, because confidence grows through repetition, not punishment.
Can I be honest again? Social media makes me feel worse sometimes. I see people speaking perfect English online, and then I compare myself immediately.
That comparison trap is dangerous because you are comparing your beginning to somebody else's middle or even their 10th year. You don't see their old mistakes. You don't see their fear. You only see the polished version.
That's true. I never thought about that.
And honestly, many fluent speakers were once terrified beginners too. Some cried after conversations. Some felt embarrassed. Some avoided speaking for years. Growth looks messy in real life, not cinematic.
Wow, so confidence is not something people are born with?
No, confidence is built through surviving uncomfortable moments again and again. Every time you speak despite fear, you become stronger.
So what's the real secret? If you could tell beginners one thing, what would it be?
Speak before you feel ready. That's the secret, because readiness comes after action, not before it. Most learners wait for confidence first, but confidence comes from experience, not waiting.
That explains so much. I've been waiting to feel fluent before speaking.
And that day never comes, because fluency is not a magical moment. It's thousands of small, brave moments, tiny conversations, tiny mistakes, tiny improvements. That's how people grow. Can I tell you something softly? One day, you're going to speak English naturally, and you won't even notice the moment it happens. You'll laugh during conversations. You'll express emotions. You'll stop translating every sentence. And one day, someone will say, "Wow, your English is really good." And you'll remember these difficult days, the fear, the silence, the overthinking,
And you'll realize you were never bad at English. You were just afraid.
That almost made me cry.
Because deep down, you needed someone to say, it's okay to learn slowly. And it is okay, really.
So, tonight, before you sleep, I want you to remember something. Your broken English is still communication. Your slow English is still progress. Your nervous voice still deserves to be heard. Please don't punish yourself for being a beginner. Every fluent speaker was once confused too. Every confident speaker once felt awkward too. And every small sentence you speak today is building your future voice, little by little, day by day.
And honestly, if you're listening right now, I hope you stop calling yourself bad at English. Because after this conversation, I don't think that's true anymore.
And if this video made you feel understood, write something in the comments. Even one sentence. Maybe, I'm still learning, or I'm trying, because your voice matters here, and maybe someone reading your comment will feel less alone too.
And if this conversation comforted you, come back again tomorrow. We'll keep learning together, slowly, without pressure.
Take care of yourself tonight. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and most importantly, keep believing that you can do this, because you can. Good night. And if you want more calm, emotional English conversations like this, don't forget to subscribe to and join us again. You are never alone in this journey.